It's out of my mind. I am here to follow up on that last video I made. So in this video, we're starting at the exact same side of Grace we left off at, Agia Lake North. And from here, what we're going to do is we are going to just kind of immediately run over in this direction, keeping again to the side. There are going to be some enemies who are patrolling the area, so crouching in these... Yep, there he goes.
Could you help us out, Cully?
So you're going to hear a voice yelling to you, and you seemingly can't really tell where it's coming from. So what you're going to do is you're going to come over to these bushes, and you're going to look over here, and you're going to see an item just chilling. You're going to run over there, and you're going to grab it. And then immediately from there, you are going to run over here to where he's talking. And you're going to see this tree with a bunch of messages around it, because players are trying to tell you that this is an NPC. So what you're going to do is you are going to hit R1 once. One time. Because otherwise you can kill him. And that would end his quest line. Alright, so immediately from here, he's going to be, you know, turned back into his human-ish self. So Bach is a demi-human, that's his name. Demi-humans are lower species characters in the game, which is kind of taboo, but we're not going to touch on that, that essentially live in the lands between, but are treated as, you know, lower beings. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk to him.
Oh, yes, I remember. Some clod turned me into a tree. You were just breaking the spell, weren't you? Thank you. The name's Bok. I was pushed out of the cave, told not to come back. Not ever. Then I ended up as a tree. Lucky you came along, really.
So basically, he just explained to you, and he's hinting at where his quest will lead to next. So I'm just going to speed through his dialogue, because I'm going to let you hear it for yourselves when you play it. But so just keep talking to him until he's repeating himself, which at this point, he's repeating himself, okay? And basically what he told you is that he lived in a cave with some other demi-humans, but was kicked out, and somewhere along the way, someone turned him into a tree. We don't really know what's up with the tree thing. It never really explains that, but he was. So now that you've exhausted Bach's dialogue, that is it for this location. He is going to move to his secondary location, which is going to be the cave he mentioned, but we're not going to get there for a little while. So what we're going to do from here is we really just kind of need to start unlocking some graces. These guys, these random groups, are always really wonderful because they are weak, and once you kill a group, stop running, you get your flasks replenished, which is a cool kind of handy side thing. Here it goes, vanquishing enemy groups. So your flasks will be replenished whenever you kill a group of enemies like that. Now, I've been using a sword mostly, but as an astrologer, your most powerful weapon is always going to be magic, and it's always going to be ranged. Now, in the beginning, Torrent is going to be your friend. Right now, I have my weapons equipped, like my sword is in my right hand and my astrologer staff is in my left hand. If you find that it's too confusing for you to be able to use both triggers effectively, switch your astrologer staff to your right hand, because that's going to be what we're going to be using most often. And so I suggest starting with using the spell that does the most damage to a group, which is going to be Glintstone Arc. You start out with two spells. You start out with Glintstone Pebble and Glintstone Arc. Now, Glintstone Arc does more damage and just generally is a more useful spell. The only thing is it doesn't have as much range. Now, what's popping up on the screen right now are those scarabs we just, like, killed that sparkle and glow, and oh shoot, we're gonna run away from this guy because he'll kill me. Those scarabs actually often contain special items and what are called ashes of war that you can apply to non-legendary ornaments in order to upgrade them and give them special skills. Now, in order to use Ashes of War, we need to do the dungeon that I ran through up here, which is these ruins. Now, to be honest, the easiest way to do this when you're starting out is to just summon a friend, but we're not going to do that because that's a whole nother thing right now. What we're going to do instead is, before we even do that dungeon, we're going to fast travel back to the Church of Ella. And it's nighttime now. And this is where you meet a mysterious figure, this snow witch named, I think she calls herself Renna.
I am the witch Renna.
Renna, yes.
I heard tell of a tarnished hurtling about atop a spectral steed, and upon looking into the matter, the talk I surmise is of thee. Thou art possessed of the power, no? To call forth a spectral steed named Torrent.
So from here, you have the option to say, no, I don't have him. But if you do that, it locks you out of a bunch of stuff. I don't even know why they give you the option. So you're going to say, yeah, I can call him.
As I had hoped,
and she's going to be like, yay!
I was entrusted this for thee, by Torrent's former master.
And this is where she gives you the spirit calling bell
calling forth spirits
and ashes.
With it. From ash and return to the Erdtree, the spirits will obey thine command but briefly, as they recall battles past. Now it is thine, to do with as thou wishest.
Okay, so basically, what spirit summoning is... Oh, sorry. By the way, if you run away from her, she just immediately starts her goodbye dialogue, but you can also just talk to her again. And she says all this.
How long will it be, I wonder, before the tarnished tire of obeisance to the 2 fingers?
And so, she gave you the spirit calling bell, which you never need to access. It's just an automatic thing when you press to summon. So what I want you to do in this situation is to go to your equipment, and down where your spirit or your flasks are is where you're going to put your spirit ashes. So she gave you the lone wolf ashes. You're going to be able to discover ashes everywhere. So you'll have multiple different kinds of ashes that you can summon. And basically what this is a way to play solo with help. So you can't always summon your ashes. You have to be in a dungeon setting or in a boss setting generally. So from here, we just fast traveled here. Now that we've talked to Renna, wink wink, we're going to fast travel back to that dungeon, and we are going to use those ashes to help us hopefully, get what we need from this dungeon. Before we do that, though, I want to go over real quick what Renna said. So she mentioned something very interesting, that if you've watched any of the lore videos by Vadividya and a couple other people, she gives you the bell, but she mentioned she got it from Torrent's previous master. And right now, we're led to believe that means Melina, but as the game goes on, you'll notice it becomes more and more kind of unlikely that this witch Renna, as she's introducing herself, and Melina are really allies or even on the same team. So it leads you to kind of question, well, who did Torrent originally belong to? And that's some questions that have been raised by the DLC concept art they put out recently. So just some food for thought. If you're interested in the lore of the game, I would definitely suggest Vadividya's just entire page. Just go and subscribe, and he has a whole playlist of Elden Ring lore videos that are just Absolutely fascinating. I highly suggest watching those. So, okay, from here, we're going to do our best. There's some chances we might die, but what we're going for is... See, immediately you'll see that icon popped up on the left-hand side of the screen, which is the dungeon icon, and you'll see all of a sudden my ashes aren't grayed out, so I'm going to hit X, or not X, I'm sorry, square, in order to summon them. And then I'm going to immediately switch back over to health potions, or mana potions. I'm going to refill my mana, and then we're going to run forward, and we're going to do some damage. And you'll notice right away that your wolves are going to just start attacking whoever you start attacking. And they're going to pull aggro away from you for the most part. Now, one of the first things as an astrologer you want to upgrade when you level up is your FP and your vigor and your intelligence. Just because you run out of FP so quickly with your spells, and you don't have a whole lot of flasks in the beginning to replenish those spells. Alright, so from here, we've killed kind of the main problem people, and we're gonna shoot. Okay, nope, don't kill me, don't kill me, don't kill me, don't kill me. Alright, now let my wolves attack while I heal myself. Alright, kill the wolves. Go ahead and collect any items you see. This guy's gonna be a problem. Alright, so we're gonna kill him. And then this wolf too. Alright. And then this one last guy who's in our way. And from here, we're gonna run down these stairs. And this is generally how these kind of ruins dungeons work. Is there's always going to be a staircase down like this somewhere in the ruins. You're gonna run, and you're going to open the door. Sometimes there's a boss behind the door before you can get to the treasure chest, but in this case, because it's the beginning of the game, we just get to open this up and go ahead and select this item. It's going to give us a new Ash of War, as well as the whetstone knife, which is how we apply Ashes of War to our ornaments, which you will be able to do by... I'm going to go ahead and just fast travel right back over to Agil. And you're going to sit at that side of grace. And to apply Ashes of War, you're going to go down to Ashes of War. It's going to explain basically how they work. I'm going to skip past it. You should definitely be reading these tutorials, though, as they come up on your screen. And then I'm just going to, pick one. Let's see, Storm Stomp or Determination. I'm going to go ahead and put Storm Stomp to my short sword. And you have the option, if you noticed, to select either quality or standard. Each one does something different. Standard's going to add more physical attack power, whereas quality does something else. So we're just going to go with standard and just increase our attack power. And from there, you can tell right away that is Storm Stomp. You will use that. You can use that by having your right hand ornament with an Ash of War, and then using L2 will activate that Ash of War. Alright, so from right there, we're just going to move straight on forward. Again, just kind of following the roads of the lands between, but keeping off of them, as that's where you're going to be seeing a lot of enemies. So we're running right past where we met Bach. And we're immediately just, gonna kind of gloss over this group of people that we killed last time. So we might as well just kill them again, because we need the runes to level up. And when they're running away, this is a really wonderful thing about being a mage build, is that you have both ranged attacks and up close with the sword. Okay. So this is something that I'm going to explain to you guys very early on. Is, do you see this dark rider up here? That is a knight cavalry rider, and they are considered basically mini bosses. They're pretty difficult. However, they only show up at night. okay? So for me right now, I am too weak to fight him. I can hop on Torrent and run past him, which is what I'm gonna do, but a quick hack you can do if you don't want to fight this guy is if I were to run back to the site of grace, and you can see he's chasing me. Like, this is a boss. You see the boss health bar. You can actually make him disappear from that bridge when you want to pass it by changing the time of day, as these night cavalry riders will only be patrolling at night. So what you're going to want to do is pass time until morning. Okay. And then we're going to immediately, actually, I'm going to show you how to level up real quick since it looks like I have enough runes, maybe. Oh, perfect. All right. So this is how you level up. Immediately, the first thing we're going to be leveling up is vigor, because as an astrologer, you start out with almost none, and in the lands between, you need some health or you're pretty much screwed. So we're going to level up our vigor, hop back on Torrent, and run right back to where that bridge was. And you're going to see, while there may be a different rider there, it's not going to be a boss. It's going to be a Caden Knight instead of a Knight Cavalry. And that is going to make a significant difference in the difficulty of that knight. As you can see, the bridge is no longer patrolled at all, really. So we're just gonna keep going. This is a Caden Knight, not a Knight Cavalry. Very easy to outrun. So from here, I'm going to take you to our next site of grace, which is also another dungeon. Now, we are on the road, but because we're on Torrent, it's okay, because you can generally outrun everything. So this is our next dungeon. Immediately, you're just going to kind of hop off Torrent. You're going to activate the effigy, and I want you to look behind you over here, and you're going to notice right here that this is a stake of Marika. So if you're to die in this dungeon, always activate at the Stake of Marika so that you don't have to run that whole way back. That would just be a lot of work for you to do. So this dungeon is pretty standard. This is where you're going to meet another NPC with a quest line. So these evil plants are poisonous, and the big ones can do that spell, which if you get caught in it, does massive, massive damage. So we're just going to run straight down these steps, and you're going to see this is a boss door. So obviously there is a boss behind this. It is a pumpkin head man. I'm going to go ahead and traverse, immediately summon my ashes, and then dodge, 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 until he's focusing on my ashes instead of me. And then I am just going to spam my spells at him from a safe distance. This is where you should definitely have some flasks allocated to FP. And see, he just hit me once, but because I upgraded my FP a bit, I did okay. We're going to heal ourselves as we're dodging. And see, these wolf ashes are just constantly stealing the attention. And because of that, I was able to defeat him without having, to summon another player. And so immediately, once we defeated that boss, there's going to be a side of grace we can touch right here. We're going to touch that side of grace, and we are going to run right over to this door, open it up, and this is where you're going to meet Selin. You can see some shadows of other players talking to her, so you're going to go ahead and talk. And she is an extremely important character for sorcerers, but generally for everybody, especially as this game features New Game Plus. So if you are playing through on your first playthrough and you're a strength build or a blood build, or you don't do sorcery, you should still become her apprentice and buy all of her spells anyway. That way, when you have the option in New Game Plus to respec your character, you won't have to start from scratch and go look for all these sorceries. You'll already have them, and you can just equip them, okay? So you're going to say, I want to learn sorcery.
Well, your abbot one must choose.
So she's going to go ahead and I still want to learn.
Very well, but I refuse to anticipate grievance.
And from here, we are going to be able to buy more spells. Now, if you started as an astrologer, you should note you already have Glintstone Pebble and Glintstone Arc, okay? So the new spells you'll be buying from her will be Glintstone Stars, Crystal Barrage, Scholar's Ornament, and Scholar's Shield. Now, because I just leveled up, I don't have enough money for either of these, but that's okay. You can always get them from her, as there is a site of grace right next to her room. After you finish talking to her, you get the Nod and Thought emoticon. I'm going to go ahead and rest here, and this is where I'm going to end the video. Hopefully that helped you guys find the first 2 non-player characters with quests throughout the Lands Between. Once again, if this helped you guys, please like and subscribe, and I will be on next time to help you follow along to keep getting these non-player character quests and explaining just kind of as I go what we're going to be doing. Alright, thanks so much you guys, and have a great rest of your day.